Welcome back. We've looked at first at least two examples of uh, measurement that have been carried out under different circumstances. Let's go more into another example. Okay. If we look at this example now, it is clear that the repetition of the survey really shows a very different result. We have measurement giving us value around here with this distance to the truth, another one here, this distance to the truth, another one here, this distance to the truth. So in essence, compared to the first example we looked at, this is worse off in the sense that it is very imprecise. They are not close to one another, and also they are also quite far from the truth, which is the real value right here. So, which means probably a very small sample was chosen. So, when you choose a very small sample, if such instrument was applied to another small sample, since you are choosing your representative in that small sample randomly, this is going to make for a very disparate, very wide range of results. But if you have taken a large sample and you survey those large samples, there is a very high probability that you are going to have a sample that is quite representative. So if somebody else goes around to do the same, if they took a representative sample again, they are going to get values that are very similar to what you got. So in this situation, small samples were taken. That is why we have values that are so different from one another when the survey was repeated. Okay, when we also have bias sampling, we end up with values that are so different from the truth. So for this kind of experiment, if we look at this experiment, assuming 3 different surveys were carried out and repeated, we got values that are so disparate and so different from the truth, then this situation is showing us that the result is imprecise and inaccurate. So remember, there could be a degree of the inaccuracy or the imprecision depending on how close they are together in terms of precision when we repeat them, and in terms of how close they are to the true value in terms of accuracy. Okay, so if you want to do your survey correctly, make sure you have the sample that is representative. It is not biased, not that I prefer to sample this group of people because I like them. They might not be the representative of the entire population. So you must take representative samples which are large enough to be able to cover for the different categories of people within that population, or different category of entities within that population of interest. And you must make sure that you are not biased. The sample should be large enough and it should not be biased. So this is an example of a very poor precision and also poor accuracy. Okay, so have it in your mind, when you use small sample and they are biased, the sampling procedure is biased towards a certain group of people within the population of interest, you are going to end up with an imprecise measurement and also an inaccurate measurement. So let's look at the best case scenario. What should we strive for when we are doing research? You want the sample the values you got from the survey, if you repeat the survey, you want it to be very close together. And it should also be close to the true value for the population. Okay, so this is when you have achieved high precision and high accuracy. Okay, so which means in order to get this, in order to achieve this, you must use samples that are large enough to capture the different shades of people or opinion or perception within your population of interest. And you should also not be biased in selecting the people that you are putting in that sample. And finally, your measurement tool is important. You must check the validity of that instrument. Is it fit for purpose? Is it asking questions or statements or checking for what is it meant to check for? So you should take that into cognizance. If your instrument is not good enough, if you give it to somebody, they might interpret your statement or the question as A, while you give it to somebody else, they might interpret it as another thing. So your instrument is also important when you are going to the field to collect data. Okay, and that also goes for physical sciences. When you are collecting data, your instrument must be properly calibrated so that it is measuring the true value from the field, not that it's misbehaving and it's not measuring exactly what it's supposed to measure.